Welcome to the Datadog Application Performance Monitoring demo. Datadog APM provides end-to-end visibility into all your critical application telemetry from across your technology stack in a single pane of glass. Datadog APM has a complete suite of observability capabilities that enable you to 1. Detect, troubleshoot, and resolve issues faster, 2. Efficiently improve your app-related operations, and 3. Shift easily from a reactive to a proactive stance. Let's see how it's accomplished in a real-world use case. Say I'm an engineer at an e-commerce company that sells furniture through an online shopping portal. We operate in a microservices environment with DevOps practices in place, so every team owns and operates their own services such as inventory, ads, payments, and more. Now the team I'm on, we call ourselves Team Shopist, develops and supports the primary API gateway called the Web Store. But given how Web Store has so many callers and downstream dependencies, when something goes wrong, it can happen anywhere in the tech stack. I received an alert from the Blinken monitor that's been triggered on an elevated increase on the 99th percentile latency on the Web Store. The monitor is our first line of defense against critical failures that can lead to increased user abandonment and tens of thousands of dollars in lost revenue. So let's take a look at the service page to start troubleshooting the issue. The service page is a central hub for all relevant telemetry data that's coming from across the tech stack. It allows us to detect and localize any issues that's affecting the web store. At the top of the page, we have the 3 key indicators of the service health: throughput, latency, and errors, which gives us a real-time pulse on if a deeper investigation is needed. One of the features that differentiates Datadog APM is how version tags are automatically applied to these performance metrics. This allows us to slice and dice the data by version, which gives us full visibility across all deployment methods, including canary, blue-green, shadow, and gradual rollouts. We can also see that the same latency metric that's used for alerting is an order of magnitude off. But in order to know whether this is due to an issue such as bad code, a failing dependency, or some other reason from across the technology stack, we need to investigate further. And that's where Datadog's Unified Service Tagging comes in. Unified Service Tagging correlates all the telemetry seamlessly into one place, so we can figure out precisely what's going well or not in a service in seconds, not hours. Let's see it in practice. Deployment tracking allows us to quickly compare application performance and spot regressions or optimization opportunities due to recent deployments. Let's check the infrastructure next. We can confirm and rule out anything out of the ordinary on the Kubernetes pods or inefficiencies in resource utilization as a cause of latency. But when we turn to the log patterns and error tracking issues, we see the checkout endpoint has a large issue count. So let's hop on over to the Resources tab. The Resources tab displays all the endpoints in the web store service. At a glance, we can understand if it's a slowdown across all endpoints, or rather, here in this case, an issue just in this endpoint compared to most other endpoints, which can indicate an issue in the code or with a downstream service. Let's investigate the checkout endpoint further. The side panel gives us the key performance metrics and a snapshot of the endpoint dependencies with other services. We can see that there's a high elevated latency with some spikes. So let's click into one of the spikes and seamlessly pivot to the related traces to investigate the symptoms further. This is a Datadog Trace Explorer. It allows us to search, analyze, and visualize distributed traces using any tag. That includes out-of-the-box tags that don't require any setup, such as service or infra tags, or custom tags too, which we can use to slice and dice the data, all without having to learn a complex query language. We can see in the search bar how Datadog carries the context over from the endpoint page, including the specific time span, so only the relevant traces are shown. In addition, we see insights surfaced by Watchdog, Datadog's AI ML engine, which identifies errors and latency outliers based on the query to save us from sifting through large volumes of data. Let's focus on the high latency traces. When we click on one of the traces, a coherent end-to-end story is presented to us via the flame graph. We can immediately understand the execution path of a request and all the service dependencies to quickly spot any bottlenecks or errors. And below the flame graph, we once again see the power of Datadog's Unified Service Tagging in practice. Datadog automatically correlates telemetry from across the tech stack to the spans in the distributed trace. so we can quickly rule out if a bottleneck or error is infra-related, network-related, code-related, or more. This allows us to get to the root cause faster. Now, red means errors and appears inventory updates are failing. This impacts the user's experience with a shopping portal. So, let's go to the inventory service endpoint to understand why. We see Watchdog is one step ahead of us. Watchdog has already identified a faulty deployment as a potential root cause through anomaly analysis. Let's confirm if Watchdog is right. There's a very high number of errors and high latency in the charts. They're correlated in time and the version tag. Let's scroll down and see why. And we can confirm the root cause, a faulty deployment which is impacting users since the inventory isn't being updated. It's a good thing no other services are being impacted, as we can confirm through the dependency map. And just like that, you can see the ease of drilling down to the root cause of high latency on the web store service that can lead to increased user abandonment and a drop in revenue. But let's take it a step further. The resolution is to revert the faulty deployment, but since Team Shoppers is not the owner of Inventory API, we need to get in touch with the right owners. So, let's go to the Service Catalog. Service Catalog is integrated with APM to enrich real-time application metrics with service reliability and ownership data. Any necessary stakeholder in the organization has seamless access to the latest runbooks and relevant dashboards for any service in the stack to resolve issues faster. We can always find the right contact information on the service row, and we can see Inventory API is owned by Team Supply Chain. With one click, we can reach out to the service owner or whoever is on call. On Datadog APM, it's easy to fully realize the resolution since telemetry is fully integrated with communication. We can quickly determine what is the root cause of an issue, even if it cascades across services to get the right pair of eyes and hands on it. And at any point, we can always take a step back to take in the big picture. We can see if teams are following best practices and have the observability that they need to operate their service as well. For example, the supply chain team has no service level objectives set up against the inventory service, nor some other critical telemetry types either. They should go ahead and create them or add a new monitor to be on top of these critical failures in the future, which shortens the mean time to detect. We've seen how Datadog APM and Service Catalog simplify the troubleshooting process. Now, let's see how Watchdog can automate the process and save us even more time and effort. We'll highlight an even more complex scenario with my team's address service. By just clicking and following the pink icons, we see Watchdog has already proactively analyzed and mapped out the causal relationships to deliver a precise end-to-end answer across the front and back ends on the root cause. Watchdog has even articulated the impact of this root cause on other services as well as users and the views. And the more telemetry that's added, the smarter Watchdog gets. And with one click, we can declare an incident and kickstart the resolution to revert the faulty deployment with the right stakeholders. So, with the power of Watchdog, you can now shift to a more proactive stance by automating root cause analysis that reduces the mean time to resolution. In this demo, you saw how Datadog APM provides end-to-end visibility into all your critical application telemetry in a single pane of glass, down to the line of code with a suite of observability capabilities that are powered by Datadog Unified Tagging and is augmented by Watchdog, Datadog's AI ML engine. With Datadog APM, you can detect, troubleshoot, and resolve issues faster, efficiently improve operations, and leverage a more proactive approach to reduce the engineering efforts that's required.